What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Adventure Outpost. In today's adventure, we are going to be talking about our most anticipated movies for the month of November. We're ranking up all of the big releases, Netflix, streaming-wise, Disney Plus, all that good stuff, and all the amazing things coming out in theaters. November, we're finally starting to get into the holiday season, so we're starting to get into those really good, juicy movies that will be going right to become awards contenders. But before we dive into that video, as always, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop some comments down below so we can keep this party rocking as always. And now, let us get to my most anticipated movies for the month of November. My least most anticipated movie for the month of November is Lindsay Lohan's return to the silver screen. It is the movie Falling for Christmas, releasing on Netflix actually next week. It is a movie that looks like it's pretty much just a ripoff of the classic Overboard. Lohan plays a hotel heiress that ends up in a skiing accident, gets total amnesia, and ends up in the care of some blue-collar dude. And obviously some romantic comedy stuff's going to happen, and they're going to end up falling in love. So it's pretty much just Overboard, but with a Christmas overlay to it. So there's not really much originality to there, and it looks like it's going to be very much just a hokey Netflix Christmas movie. So even with Lindsay Lohan's return to the silver screen, it does not entice me so much to really even care that this movie exists. So it falls here all the way at the bottom. Coming in hot off its heels is another Christmas movie. It is the long-awaited sequel to A Christmas Story, A Christmas Story's Christmas. I don't think anyone asked for this, but here we are, and it's coming out. I don't care. I'm gonna give a hot take here. I don't like the original Christmas Story. I'm not a fan of it. It's never been my jam. This is never one of the Christmas movies that I gravitated towards whenever I wanted to watch Christmas movies. I watched it, was just like, yeah, okay. Never went back to it again, so I don't see myself. This trailer didn't really do anything to make me think that I'm going to enjoy this one any more than I did the original one, so it ends up down here along with the other Christmas movie. We're going for the hat trick here. I don't want you to think that I hate Christmas movies, because I actually really do enjoy Christmas movies. It's just that none of them that are really coming out right here for the month of November are really doing anything to inspire in me anything that seems like they're going to be good. And coming in next now for the hat trick is another Christmas movie. It is the movie Spirited, starring Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. It looks like it's just another retelling of A Christmas Carol. It's a story of something that's been done so many times to death. The really only difference here is that now we've got two really capable comedic actors in the roles, but it just still doesn't do enough for me to want to really even care or see another iteration of this tale. Even if you're going to make it with like big, huge, hokey dance numbers and all that good stuff and load it with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, it just doesn't really do that much for me. It's coming out on Apple TV, I believe. Obviously, we're going to check it all out, but I'm just not very excited, and I don't see, with the way that my sensibilities are for what I enjoy and look at in movies, I feel like these ones are going to end up being at the bottom of the barrel for me. This one has probably the most potential out of the three Christmas movies to surprise me and maybe end up being better than I expected it, but as anticipation level, it still ends up here towards the bottom of the barrel. Up next is another long-awaited sequel. It is the sequel to the movie Enchanted, and we're talking Disenchanted. All the cast is back. It's time for another adventure. I'm going to have to rewatch the first Enchanted. I remember enjoying it when it came out. I was never somebody who was obsessed with it, but I remember it being a cute enough movie. But this one it seems like it's going to be much the same. So I'm not like crazy excited for it, but I'm not like not excited for it. I think it's one of those movies that with the next few movies that we're going to get to that are just kind of just slated right there in the middle. I don't really feel either way about them. I just feel like they're going to be movies that I'm going to see and go like, yeah, that was a movie. I don't think it'll be bad. I don't think it'll be amazing. It'll just be something that just falls right there along the middle that we'll forget about in like the next 5 years. Up next is another Netflix movie. It is the movie Slumberland. I know next to nothing about this movie. I'm really going off of just a poster for the movie that I've seen. But it's got Jason Momoa in it, and it's a fantasy movie. So it kind of falls down here along with Disenchanted, where it's one of those movies that I feel like could go either way. I feel like it's probably not going to be the worst thing we've seen. It's not going to be the best thing I've seen, but it's just going to be something that falls there in the middle. But I'm a big Jason Momoa fan, so it lands itself right around here simply because I'll see it for the star power of my man Jason Momoa. Up next is the Timothy Chalamet Bones and All. This movie looks very weird and wild, and I like when movies get weird and wild. So I'm looking forward to all the rest of these movies. There's a lot of good stuff coming out in November. So all the rest of these movies are all movies that I'm definitely looking forward to. It's just the varying levels of them. I think this movie looks pretty interesting. It looks like it could be either way, where it might end up being a little bit more boring and slow paced. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping it's gonna be able to like be a really tense, nail biting thriller. But I also feel like it could be one of those like esoteric, like leaned back, just like slow dramas as well. So I feel like it's one of those ones that, depending on the value of how the tension is built, it could go either way for me. But I am super excited to see it. I'm a big Timothy Chalamet, Mark Rylance fan. I think this movie has a lot of potential in it. Up next is a movie that I don't. I think it's another. All these movies are just ones right now where it's like I feel like they could go either way. But one of these movies that makes it so on the fence for me is a movie where it's like, man, who should be the people to tell the story about Harvey Weinstein? Oh yeah, Hollywood. And it's like, oh yeah, that's totally. It's like Infernal Affairs, like doing everything for the like cops like investigating themselves. Like that's what this movie feels like. This next movie is She Said. It's a story all about Harvey Weinstein and the journalist that broke the story about how much of a fucking scumbag and horrible person that guy is. And it's made by the people that helped, perpetuate it. Like we're talking, it's made by Hollywood, of people that knew that this motherfucker was running wild and rampant like this for how many years. And now here we are, however, what are we, only like 2-3 years after all this shit happened with him and all of his outing and all this stuff, and now we're making a movie about it. I don't know. It just feels weird. Feels weird that Hollywood's making it. But I mean, if anyone was going to make it, it's going to be Hollywood. It's not like other people were going to make a movie about Harvey Weinstein. I don't think this movie needs to exist, but I mean, from the trailer at all, it looks like it should be like a decent like journalist story. It's another one. It can go either way. We got to see like what kind of tact they deal with this movie with. It's one of those things. It can go either way. This is the movie I feel like can go the most either way out of all the ones we've been talking about so far, where I feel like it could be like a really good journalist movie, or it's going to be like so tone deaf. Why would Hollywood touch this and do this? It's I'm super interested to see it, just to see which end of the curve we end up landing on. Up next is the movie The Wonder, starring Florence Pugh. It's actually coming out on Netflix, I believe, next week. This is another movie I don't know too much about, other than the fact that Florence Pugh is in it, and Florence Pugh is one of my favorite actresses working today. So naturally, anything she's making, I am lining up to watch. So this movie lands right here in the square middle of everything, simply because off of her star power and how much I enjoy her performances and everything she's done. Up next is actually a movie that is coming out, well, as the time of recording this video, it's coming out tomorrow, but by the time this video is up, it will have been released, and I've probably already watched it, and that is the Weird Al Yankovic movie. It's coming out in the Roku channel. I don't even know what that is, but I'm going to find a way to get it, because I want to watch this movie, because I love me some Daniel Radcliffe. I've never been the biggest Weird Al fan. Like, I don't think I've ever actually, like, listened to his music or anything like that, other than, like, the silly parody ones, but the movie does look like a fun send-up of biopics, so I am super excited to check it out. Couple that with Daniel Radcliffe in the movie playing Weird Al, I think is just a surefire way for success there. This kid has always taken on the most interesting roles, so I am super excited for this movie to be dropping. It's a twofer, because up next is another movie that is dropping tomorrow. Well, when this video drops, it'll actually be already open, and that is Enola Holmes 2. I'm super pumped for this movie. The first one was an enjoyable little movie. I enjoyed that one a lot. I wonder if it was one of those ones because it just came out during the height of the pandemic year that we were just so enjoyed to see like a movie that didn't suck, that this movie felt bigger than it was. But I'm super excited for this next one to come out and continue that story. Millie Bobby Brown works really well in the role, and anytime we get some more Henry Cavill on the screen is always a plus with me. Man is one of the greats to do it right now, so I am super pumped to check that out and see them two playing off of each other once again. After that is the latest Marvel movie, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Everybody knows I'm not the biggest Marvel fan. I'm not really the biggest superhero fan, actually, truth be told. But I think this one is probably the most interesting superhero movie to be coming out this year, besides the Batman. And it's simply due to just to see all the mystery around how they're going to handle Chadwick Boseman's untimely death. It's going to be super interesting to watch that movie and just see how they handle everything. From early reviews, it seems like they did really well with it. But I can never really trust the early Marvel reviews because I feel like it's always like those classic Marvel shills, because it was like that before Thor dropped. It was like that before Doctor Strange dropped, where you just had all the people coming out where they were like, Doctor Strange is the greatest thing, man. Thor, man, is the greatest thing, man. So I'm a little on the cautious side here, and I'm gonna wait till the movie drops to see for myself. But I think if there's anybody that's gonna be able to pull an ace out of their sleeve for Marvel this year, it's gonna be Ryan Coogler and company. So it's gonna be super interesting to see how that movie unfolds. And we don't have much longer to wait. It is dropping in theaters next Friday, so you can bet your ass that I will be there. I'll actually probably see it before it comes out. We could screen it at my theater as soon as it becomes available for us. So it'll be super interesting to finally see that and see that, what their ode to Chadwick Boseman is going to look like. After that is the movie Devotion, starring Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell going for the big Air Force movies these years. He's really loving being in those biplanes and rocking in those jets, man. After Top Gun Maverick, now he's coming back with Devotion. There's a story about two guys having to work together. I believe it's the Korean War. It's funny, you would think I've seen this trailer so many times every time I go to the theater that you would think I would know that, but I just completely space it every time I see it now because I've seen the trailer so much that I actively stop paying attention whenever it's on now. I'm in for the movie though. Like from the first time I saw the trailer, I was like, yes, I'm in for that. Fucking love Jonathan Majors. I'm a big Glenn Powell fan. I'm glad he's getting, second billing on a movie now. It's really good. Awesome for him. This looks like another fun fighter pilot movie with two just class actors playing off of each other, so I am super excited to check this one out. Disney is back, holding strong on their Thanksgiving weekend release with the latest animation movie from them, Strange World. It is a movie that is just very bizarre looking. I love the trailer from it. I love that old classic throwback to all that old type sci-fi. I think this movie is going to be a lot of fun. Very Jules Verne, very just like old school 20th century science fiction. Looks like a lot of fun to me. It's got some great casting. You got Jake Gyllenhaal in there, Dennis Quaid. I forget the other people, but it's right there from those two. Like it's already like hell yeah, man. Jake Gyllenhaal, Dennis Quaid. Fuck yeah, let's do it. So it's going to be super super fun. Disney always knows what they're doing right now. They're in a league of their own right now when it comes to animation. They are just crushing it on all fronts right now. We're definitely in another golden age of Disney animation, and I hope that it doesn't end anytime soon. Taking third is the movie The Menu, a quirky little thriller that looks like it's going to be a deliciously fun, good time. You got Ralph Fiennes as this sous chef that looks like he's just like putting on this like insanely weird performance that's going to end in a lot of people being dead. Great supporting cast with Nicholas Hoult, Anya Taylor-Joy, John Leguizamo, a lot of people in there. This movie just looks like a very like weird and wild trip, and it looks like it's definitely going to be one of the more unique movies of this year. So I'm always more supportive of those sweet, unique films coming out. And this one looks very fun, very wickedly, like, just crazy. Super excited to check it out and see what the, like, twist is and everything as that movie comes out and really just, like, digs into the meat and potatoes of itself. Taking number two is a movie that I was worried wasn't going to get a theatrical release since Netflix bought out the sequels, and that is the Knives Out sequel, Glass Onion. Now, technically, this movie is coming out on Netflix in December, but it is coming out for a limited 1-week run in theaters Thanksgiving weekend, and you bet your ass I'm going to be in theaters to check that out. I saw the first one in theaters, I freaking loved it, so I'm super excited for this one to come out. It's got another stacked, amazing cast. Anytime you got Dave Bautista in a movie, you've got my ass in the seat. I'm so happy that they were able to figure out a way where this movie can get a theatrical release and in a wide enough theaters that we're able to see it. Normally, sometimes when Netflix puts their movies out in a limited theatrical run, it's in really small theaters. It's really only in cities, so that way they can be eligible for awards. But I'm happy that this one's going to get a nice big release so that everybody can have a chance to go see it on the silver screen before it drops in Netflix. But there can only be one, and it should not surprise anybody who knows anything about me. But number one is Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans. Steven Spielberg is my favorite filmmaker of all time. I think he is the greatest filmmaker of all time. I think he has been the most influential filmmaker the end of the 20th century into the 21st century. He is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the greatest to ever do it. And this movie coming out looks to be an amazing return to form for him. You know, his movies are never terrible, but sometimes you can get ones where it almost looks like he's doing it in his sleep. But this movie looks very true to form for him. It looks like it's one of those ones that's going to be deeply personal, and it's going to hit all those great Spielberg marks. Whenever I watch the trailer chokes me up already. Like, I just get so excited, and I'm just like so drawn into it. It's going to be so incredible. It is a story, it is a semi-autobiographical story of Spielberg's love for cinema and his childhood that brought him his love for cinema. It looks deeply personal. It looks like a lot of fun. It's going to be larger than life. It is going to have all those Spielberg-like cues that you love so much from his movies. It looks absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to check this one out when it comes out. And that'll do it for our list. We got a plethora of goodies coming out for November. A lot of movies. Normally we don't have as many movies to talk about, but November, as we're coming into that holiday season, is stacked for movies. So we've got a lot of good stuff to get into this month. So be sure to check us back out here at the end of the month when we run through and see just where all of these movies ended up ranking for me personally after I've went and seen them. But that'll do it for all of us here at the Outpost today. You have been you. I have been me. These are the movies that we love so much. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you're excited for in this month of November. And until next time, adventure on.